to have with us both John and Chris from the North Carolina Coalition. What I'm going to ask is if, Chris, if you'll come first, and then John Hood, who heads the John Locke Foundation as well, for comments, and then we'd love to turn to our guests and role models in this from the state of Iowa. So, Chris.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris Fitzsimon with the North Carolina Coalition for Lobbying and Government Reform. I'm also the Executive Director of the North Carolina Policy Watch. And I'm here to tell you, as startling as it may be to all of you, John Hood is right on this. It is time that we do as much as we can to remove politics from the redistricting process. NC Policy Watch has been part of the Coalition for Lobbying and Government Reform since the beginning, and we've supported Independent Redistricting Commission, Independent Redistricting Process for years. And I've had the honor to be a member of various coalitions supporting the idea since the mid-90s. I want to commend Representative Glazier, Representative Lewis, Representative Rapp, and Representative Curran for sponsoring this legislation. It's not easy to do sometimes, to sponsor things that maybe not haven't been as popular as they should be. But it's hard to think of anything that's more important in a democracy than people having confidence in the integrity of their government and the belief that their vote matters, and that their vote hasn't been made irrelevant by gerrymandered lines that determine the outcome of elections before any votes are cast. The exciting thing I think about House Bill 824 is that there's no need to reinvent any wheel. The Iowa model in House Bill 824 is a perfect place to start the debate about how to make redistricting not bipartisan but nonpartisan. I think there's a vital difference. Sometimes in redistricting, politicians of both parties get together to protect certain incumbents. Sometimes individual parties protect their own incumbents. We don't need either one of those things, I think, to restore the integrity in the political process and in the confidence people have in government. It all comes down really to one simple idea. We need to draw the district lines in a way that makes the most sense for voters, not the most sense for politicians. House Bill 824 would do that, and again, I want to congratulate the lawmakers who have sponsored the bill, and I look forward to its passage this session. Thank you.
I'm John Hood from the John Locke Foundation, and I have to begin by saying that Chris is wrong, but not on this. I've been advocating redistricting reform for more than 20 years. It is a complex issue, redistricting, and we have to get the details right, so we've got to sweat some details as we move forward in the process. But reform is based on a fundamental truth. Representative government is impossible if the voters cannot elect representatives of their choice. Now, gerrymandering is not a North Carolina invention. It has a long history. It was present in the Roman Republic, in the Assembly of the Tribes. I think Matt Willoughby was in the press corps at the time in Rome. Give you some details about that.
You're wrong.
But the fundamental problem is when you have a large gap between the popular vote for Congress or the legislature and the actual number of seats won by each party. The goal of redistricting reform, or one of the goals at least, is to reduce that gap. Will it eliminate it? Will it create a perfect electoral system? Of course not. Human beings are imperfect, and everything we do is going to have some flaws in it. But redistricting reform is essential if we want to restore the promise of representative government. Now, one of the principles I think is important, and it's reflected in this legislation, is that while it is an important matter to determine who draws the lines, it's actually the second most important matter. The first important matter is to set up the criteria that guide the decision makers. Essentially, it's more important to set the rules of the game than it is to select the referees. But of course, it's also important to select the referees. So in the legislation, there's a list of criteria. I think these criteria, as much as possible, should be mathematical. They should be quantifiable. It should be such that you can apply a formula and generate a large amount of the congressional and legislative maps, essentially reducing the degrees of freedom that any political cartographer has, be he elected or appointed or shipped in from Mars or whatever. So let me close by saying that redistricting reform may seem like a difficult task, a sort of impossible dream. But the truth is that North Carolina's redistricting process has already been reformed in recent years. It was in a less than ideal manner because it was done through litigation in the courts. But the Stevenson v. Bartlett decision and the more recent decision involving Pender County are examples of reform that had an effect on the maps for the legislature. It made the maps fairer, it made them more competitive. The solution for, let's say, Republicans who've been looking at this process for over a century and frustrated, there have been recent elections where the number of votes for a legislative chamber, the Republicans won the majority but didn't win a majority of the seats. The solution is not to give them a chance to win more than their share of the seats. The solution is to reform the process so that the voters determine who represents them, not someone else. Thank you.